You can do this.
Yamiche Sendor, NBC News, Mitchellville, Maryland.
And that's Nightly News for this Monday. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night.
This has never been done before.
3 artists are going to perform, and we can only choose one.
This is a very tough decision.
I quit.
It's been a great run.
You broke me. I quit.
I see your hard work, everything you do to try to make it. But people continue to be left behind. I'm running for Senate to put more money in your pocket. Ron Johnson's had 12 years to make things better, but costs are still rising, and all he's managed to do is write a tax cut for himself. I believe better is possible. I believe hard work can pay off, and I'll never stop fighting until it does. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
Howard Young Urgent Care. Get in, get out, get well.
Piece of the Reformation is in Rhinelander. We'll hear about a local church's connection to Martin Luther.
Plus, political spending in some races is higher than ever. We'll hear which side is benefiting from bigger donors.
And a local humane society is in need of help because of overcrowding. We'll have the details as your local news starts right now.
News Watch 12 with Dan Hagan, Jessica Jukic, and Conrad Sapinski.
Good evening and welcome to News Watch 12 at 6. I'm Dan Hagan.
And I'm Jessica Jukic. October 31st marks an important day in the Protestant faith. 505 years ago, on this day, Martin Luther, a German monk, nailed 95 statements to the door of All Saints Cathedral in Wittenberg, Germany. That day, also on All Hallows Eve, the day before All Saints Day, eventually started the Protestant Reformation. Pastor Schultz of Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church says that the Catholic Church did not like his comments.
Luther had discovered from his study of Scripture that what the church was teaching and what was in Scripture were two different things. And he said we need to return to the gospel, that we are saved by God's grace alone, through faith alone, in Jesus Christ alone.
Pastor Schultz shares that Luther's move eventually developed a following.
After God used him to uncover the gospel, he also used him to defend the gospel and then to spread the gospel.
Luther's followers would break apart from the Catholic Church and eventually form branches of Protestantism like Lutheranism. Zion's church also has a stone that comes from the historic church in Wittenberg, Germany. The artifact can be seen by appointment.
Well, Conrad, I remember a lot of Halloweens where it was snowing, but it is really nice today.
Yeah, we're on that nice warming trend right now. It's beautiful outside. Perfect trick-or-treating weather. I don't know if you guys are going out there. I know you're looking a little festive right now. Perfect for that. But taking a look outside, the temperatures were warm. Lots of 60s outside earlier today. We had a high of 64 degrees. Wow, it feels like we've backtracked by a month and a half. It was gorgeous outside. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures across the whole state were well above average. Our average high for this time of year should be around 47 degrees with an average low of around 29. So we are well above that today, and we're actually going to be above that the next several days. Right now, the sun is starting to set, and temperatures are cooling off. 52 right now in Rhinelander, 50 in Tomahawk. A couple of 40s are just around the corner. So the next 30 minutes, we will see a lot more 40s outside. Like I said, mostly sunny skies, so it was great. Lots of sunshine, barely any cloud cover throughout the whole state. We had a little bit of showers by that border of Illinois and Wisconsin, close to Chicago, but all that is lingering away. Dew points are also low in the 20s and 30s, so that means it's feeling comfortable outside, not as sticky as it usually does when it rains. But temperatures tonight will continue to drop for trick-or-treating, so don't forget a sweater as we start to hover in those mid-30s. Dan?
Thanks, Conrad. Heart attack deaths had been steadily declining for decades, but that trend reversed since the COVID-19 pandemic. As the number of COVID infections surged, deaths from heart attacks rose sharply as well, with adults ages 25 to 44 experiencing the most significant increases. Fatal heart attacks in that age bracket soared 30% over what was predicted. New research suggests the possibility that COVID-19 could trigger or accelerate coronary artery disease. The scientists said more research has to be done to pinpoint risks, but they did say individuals who were vaccinated were 200 times less likely to have a stroke than those who didn't.
Tim Michels is speaking out against the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. If elected, Michels says he would consider breaking up the DNR. Earlier this month, during the only debate between Michels and Democratic Governor Tony Evers, Michels said that the DNR was, quote, close to being broken. Days later, Michels suggested breaking the DNR into two parts, one for the business side and one that serves hunters and sportsmen. There have been at least 4 proposals to split up the agency in the past. Former DNR Secretary George Meyer argues splitting up the agency would cost more money and provide less services. The U.S. Supreme Court could end any consideration of race in college admissions. The justices are weighing cases that challenge affirmative action policies at UNC, Chapel Hill, and Harvard University, with conservative members expressing skepticism about whether it's legal. Liberal justices, who are in the minority, defended the use of race in admissions, citing the importance of diversity on campus and the challenge of achieving that goal without any consideration of race. The Supreme Court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority, will hear back-to-back oral arguments in this case. The arguments against affirmative action are being brought by a group called Students for Fair Admissions, led by conservative activist Ed Blum.
Republican-leaning groups spent a record amount of money on political campaigns already. Republican outside groups have spent 4 times more money to campaign for statewide and legislative candidates in Wisconsin this election season. That's 4 times more than Democrats. The Wisconsin Democracy Campaign said the outside money has hit a record $37 million so far for state offices, including governor, attorney general, and the state legislature.
The man convicted of robbing a Wausau bank in May was sentenced to 10 years in police supervision today. Tommy Pittman pled no contest to robbing a financial institution on September 6th. Back on May 20th, Wausau police responded to Wood Trust Bank on East Bridge Street about a report of a robbery which was determined to be committed by Pittman. He was later found and arrested on May 26th in Freeport, Illinois. His sentence includes 3 years of initial confinement and 7 years of extended supervision. The Forest County Humane Society rescues and rehabilitates dogs and cats. They also help them find forever homes.
But sometimes too many can be brought in, which can be overwhelming for staff members. Newswatch 12's Mohammed Abdul Kawi joins us live in the studio to tell us more. Mohammed.
Thanks, Dan. The Humane Society is currently taking care of over 100 pets at the moment, and with it being overcrowded, it can be difficult for animals to have space to move around.
There's been so many animals coming in on a daily basis.
The Forest County Humane Society is experiencing an overflow of pets in their facility, a problem that began with COVID.
A lot of people went back to work and couldn't keep their animals, and it hasn't stopped yet.
With over 100 dogs and cats being held.
Very sweet little guy.
Having a place for them to go outside and play becomes an issue.
They all need room to get out and exercise, and then have room to, to work on. Some of them come in with behavioral issues or different problems like that. So spacing, and it's just highly crucial for the animal's well-being.
Overcrowded space isn't the only problem. There is also a small amount of volunteers, which makes day-to-day tasks more difficult.
We have worked with the local newspapers. You access all social media outlets. We've just been trying word of mouth, everything we can possibly do to try to, to not only let people know that we're at max capacity, but try to get help.
Finding a good home for pets is the Humane Society's main goal. Ross and her crew hope that eventually the number of animals will become less clustered.
Every day that they're here is just one more day that they have to be confined to a condo, that they don't need to be in. They need to be in a good home. It's just crucial for their little lives.
For more information on what you could do to help, you can visit forestcountyhumanesociety.org. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Mohammed Abdul Kawi, Newswatch 12.
Thanks, Mohammed. Politicians are in the final push for the midterms, and people on both sides are calling for calm.
Plus, we'll hear about a devastating decision from Russia that could hurt poorer countries. That's after weather with Conrad right here on Newswatch 12.
300 murders just last year. Terror at the Waukesha Christmas Parade. But defund the police radical Mandela Barnes still supports eliminating cash bail, releasing dangerous criminals back into our communities. Barnes says,
reducing prison population is now sexy.
Actually, releasing criminals isn't sexy. It's dangerous. Radical Mandela Barnes won't keep your family safe. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you're a contractor or do-it-yourselfer, make Argonne Lumber your first stop. High-quality materials, personalized service, expert staff, and delivery are just some of the things Argonne Lumber is known for. Stop in and smell the lumber at Argonne Lumber, 2 locations in Argonne and Rhinelander.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Looking for one of our most capable Ford SUVs? Okay, great. We've got you covered. Spacious interiors, innovative tech, good looks, and a legendary off-road experience. Check out our inventory today, or let us help you place a custom order. Getting into the perfect Ford SUV? Well, it's easier than ever. Yeah, we've got you covered. Now choose FlexBuy on a 2022 Ford Escape or Edge and get 0% financing for 66 months.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman. And said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call, to your first sip, to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
It's Halloween. We've made it. Happy Halloween. Beautiful weather outside right now. Mostly clear skies all across the state. We did have a little bit of rain closer to Chicago on the border of Wisconsin earlier today. But look what happened to that rain. It's starting to dissipate and really moving out of the region as it continues to go up north into the northeast. But that means for us, we're going to be in the clear the next several days. Tuesday, Wednesday, and same thing into Thursday. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 60s. But look what happens Thursday night into Friday morning. Green is showing up there. That's rain. More rain will be moving in Friday and then lasting throughout the weekend. Pretty much Saturday and Sunday becoming scattered, but still bring an umbrella and have it near you starting Friday because we'll have a good amount of rain before it finally starts to taper off by the evening hours on Sunday. So we are all in a drought. Lots of drought conditions all across America, especially in locations where there's the red and those darker red colors, and in California as well. But that's not the only spot that has a little bit of a drought. Wisconsin is also in on that stuff. The last several months, we've actually had some below average for our precipitation starting July. So that rain is definitely much, much needed. Right now, temperatures have cooled off finally. 52 degrees in Rhinelander, 50 in Tomahawk, and 40s are just around the corner as the sun is starting to set and everybody will be cooling off. But overall, we are all warm. We had some really warm temperatures all the way up north to Canada. Even had some 60s outside. So that's really warm for this time of year. Our average is supposed to be around 47 degrees. So look what happens tomorrow, Wednesday, and into Thursday. Almost 70 degrees by Wednesday. And then that rain comes in Thursday night into Friday and really cools us off. Still above average in those 50s. And then once again, by Monday, we cool off. So 40s will be back starting on Monday and then even cooler weather from there on. Before tonight, what's the weather going to look like? At 35 as a low, but for trick-or-treating, we're looking at some 40s. So bring a sweater or two because it will get chilly, especially the later you're out by the night. But mostly clear skies, so no rain and no snow in the area. Very good sign for us. Perfect timing for Halloween. Tomorrow, beautiful. Another warm day. Even warmer temperatures than what we had outside today. 67 as a high, mostly sunny skies. and that southwest wind will be blowing at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Not a big issue as temperatures are going to be in the 60s. And our 7-day outlook brought to you by Northwoods Furniture and Mattress does show that cool down with that rain sticking around Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And look what happens on Monday. We clear up. We'll see lots of sunshine, but temperatures will be cooler in those mid-40s. Dan?
Thanks, Conrad. Prices of wheat and corn on global commodities markets rose today, putting poor countries in a tough spot. It comes after Russia pulled out of a deal that had allowed some vital grain exports from Ukraine to pass through the Black Sea despite the war. Together, Ukraine and Russia account for nearly a third of global wheat exports. A humanitarian aid organization said the consequences of Russia's withdrawal from the deal could be catastrophic for poor countries, many of which are already experiencing extreme hunger. The deal was due to expire next month, but efforts were already underway to extend it.
President Biden is calling on oil companies to lower its prices. In an address Monday, the president pointed to record profits for some of the biggest oil companies, all while prices remain high at the pump for many Americans. The president didn't mince words, calling the profits a, quote, windfall of war due to supply issues caused by the war in Ukraine. The president's remarks come after his administration has released millions of barrels of oil to help with supply issues. That's a move Biden says has helped bring prices down from their peak earlier this summer. With just 8 days ahead of the election day, several key races are still way too close to call, with control of Capitol Hill hanging in the balance.
With fiery rhetoric reaching perhaps an all-time high. Jay Gray is in Washington with the latest.
I'm the one who can get it done.
Closing arguments.
Join us in healing and unifying.
Candidates making their case to voters just 8 days ahead of the critical midterm elections. Neither party with a clear lead in the closing run.
It's going to be really close on election night and perhaps beyond.
So close, both sides have called in heavy hitters to help sway the undecided. Former Presidents Trump and Obama on the campaign trail, while the current president, with a sagging approval rating, is taking a bit of a back seat.
This is not a referendum, it's a choice.
A choice many voters say has become increasingly difficult.
We used to vote for who was the best candidate, now we vote for who's not the worst.
Right.
The mudslinging and rhetoric at an all-time high, and now framed by the attack on Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. The Justice Department this afternoon charging suspect David DePape with assault and kidnapping charges. We've also learned he was carrying zip ties and duct tape during the attack while screaming, "Where's Nancy?" echoing calls. Where are you, Nancy? During the January 6th insurgents at the Capitol. Investigators say DePape was very active on social media with posts and a blog focused on far-right extremism. Both parties now calling for calm.
We've got to do everything we can to lower the rhetoric.
With concern things could get even worse.
We shouldn't wait until someone dies before collectively we all say, hey, we've got to calm down.
During the heated final days of some heavily contested elections. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
A car wash in Wisconsin is getting spooky this Halloween season.
We'll have that, plus how Switzerland broke records to celebrate their long-running passenger train. We'll be right back.
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
You've heard what women say about working at Tim Michael's company, that they were groped.
The male superior groped the crotch and inner thigh of a female employee.
And pressured to have sex with their bosses. And now we know more. According to an attorney involved in the case, when the only woman on a Michael's road crew was sexually harassed on the job, the company did not take it seriously. From the top down. From the top down. If that's how Tim Michaels runs his company, how do you think he'd run the state?
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland.
As in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor. Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it, Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
That really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Tim Michaels wants to scare you with lies. Here's the truth. Independent fact checkers gave Michaels' parole attacks a pants-on-fire rating, saying they were false and that the governor does not allow any release of criminals. That's a fact. And here's another fact. Tony Evers actually increased police funding, and he's working to invest in high-crime areas, in job training, after-school programs, and mental health. So when you see all these, do this.
Northwoods Firearms in Crandon. We sell anything freedom. Firearms, ammunition, parts, and accessories. We buy, sell, and trade all types of firearms. We specialize in custom-built rifles and fully equipped set-up hunting rifles. Silencer shop power dealer with kiosk. Factory trained and certified Cerakote applicator. We handle all types of firearms transfers as well as NFA weapon deals. Our focus is on you and delivering one-of-a-kind products. Embrace your freedom at Northwoods Firearms in Crandon.
Newswatch 12 is brought to you by Bone and Joint Walk-In Care.
The world's longest passenger train has left the station.
And a car wash in Wisconsin is in the Halloween spirit. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Well, Halloween is finally here, and you're no doubt ready for some hokey holiday hoopla, but first, you gotta take a look at this. It's the mind-boggling maiden run of the world's longest passenger train. Switzerland debuted the amazing technical transportational feat to celebrate the 175th anniversary of the country's first railway system. And the crowds that flocked and gawked at this modern marvel were not disappointed. The engine twisted and turned through the majestic mountainous Albula line, pulling a whopping 100 cars stretched out to a length of almost 1.2 miles long. That's scary long. Speaking of scary, customers at this Wisconsin car wash were treated to a spooky seasonal send-up of the sparkling clean service. The Tunnel of Terror has been making the rounds at Tommy's car wash locations nationwide this season and promised to, quote, scare the socks off your entire vehicle. Let's hope it's not too frightening, though, or else customers might end up having to clean the insides of their car. And finally, wet and wild is how these Florida Keys folks like their All Hallows Eve ballyhoo. The annual underwater pumpkin carving contest took place 5 miles off Key Largo and featured 18 scuba divers carving jack-o'-lanterns 25 feet below the surface. The real winners here were the fish that got to feast off free floating carved kibble from this kooky competition that was nautical, aquatical, and highly methodical. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
He pushed tax loopholes benefiting himself. Send him back, and he'll make things worse. Ron Johnson would let Wisconsin ban abortion, even in cases of rape, and said if you don't like it, you can move. He voted to raise the retirement age and wants to end guaranteed spending on the Social Security you earned.
Social Security is a legal Ponzi scheme, but that's exactly what it is.
Ron Johnson, still making it harder on us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
All your local news is just a swipe away with the new and improved Newswatch 12 mobile app. Download the app on all your devices for local news, school closings, full video newscasts, and more. Newswatch 12. News from where you live. The WJFW News app is sponsored by Cellcom.
Save 50% on select smartphones at Cellcom September 30th through October 31st. Taxes due at sale. Restrictions apply. Visit Cellcom.com/deals for details.
As an Army commander, I serve God, family, and country. But the media, they say none of that matters anymore. When I was 9 years old, my dad handed me a shovel and put me to work. Nowadays, people get paid to sit on the couch. I'm Tim Michaels. I'm not some career politician. I'm a self-made businessman who doesn't give a rip about the special interests or their money. I'm running for governor to turn Madison upside down and take back the freedoms that make Wisconsin great.
Tim Michaels for governor.
At WJFW, our Newswatch 12 news team works around the clock to bring you the news that matters most of all to the North Woods. Our team is committed to the community and ensuring that you are as informed as possible. The Newswatch 12 team works hard to deliver the most important stories from around the globe, local and national sports updates, and weather reports. We are NBC Newswatch 12, news from where you live.
Breaking news in Dallas, Texas, where at least 5 police officers were killed when they were ambushed.
This was the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since 9/11.
Just days after this horrific crime, Mandela Barnes appeared on Vladimir Putin's propaganda news outlet and rationalized violence against American police officers.
Police officers are over-exercising their badges. This probably was a retaliatory attack.
Do you want Mandela Barnes representing you in the Senate?
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
All right, Conrad and Jessica, so last weekend you can see me there as a lumberjack, but that was part of our display at the YMCA's Not So Scary Halloween Trail. Not only was it a bunch of fun, it was also a fundraiser. The Rhinelander Area Food Pantry collected 530 pounds of food and $390. And like last weekend, this evening for Halloween is just going to be beautiful. I remember as a kid, I would always have to be creative with what sort of costumes I can wear because it'd be so cold. There'd be even snow sometimes.
Yeah, this is my first Halloween here up in the Northwoods, but I heard there's snow sometimes on Halloween. But yeah, we really got lucky this time around.
Great.
Temperatures were very, very warm. 64 as a high earlier today. Right now, of course, we've cooled down. 50s are back, even a couple of 40s, like I said. Tomahawk, 47 degrees, and temperatures will continue to cool off overnight into the mid-30s. But look what happens Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Back into those mid to upper 60s.
So we better enjoy the next few days while we can.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Conrad. That's all the time we have. We'll see you back here at 10.
Mr. Food Test Kitchen is brought to you by Golden Carrot Jewelers and Creative Kitchen and Bath Studio.
Happy Halloween to all you ghosts and goblins. I love this holiday, not only because of the candy, but also because I love